All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com. This is your stock watch list and market report and news report from ZozoStockWatch.com. This is your watch list for Wednesday, the 28th of February, as February comes to a close tomorrow, and then we go into March. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's look at some of the action from courtesy of the Trade Exchange. We had FTNT with some news out after the bell. FTNT, that's a cybersecurity stock. FTNT Artificial Intelligence delivers proactive threat detection at mission speed and scale. So that was some news that came out from FTNT. This is a after hours chart that you're looking at here. Not much action in that one. Workday had earnings after the bell. Workday, WDAY, earnings per share revenue beat, but that stock selling off in the after hours. AAXN, earnings per share revenue miss. That stock trading up in the after hours. That is the old Taser, AAXN. Remember Taser, TASR, that's the old symbol. This is the new symbol for Taser. They've been around that way for a little bit now. So AAXN, earnings per share beat, revenue miss, but they moved that stock up in the after hours. Some other stocks that had earnings after the bell, SQ, Square, got volatile in the after hours and then slowly sold off on SQ, probably something on their conference call. Let's see, we had Etsy with earnings per share and revenue beat. Etsy and whoops, oh my God, my typing is terrible. ETSY, sorry about that. Etsy popping up in the after hours on that earnings per share revenue beat. Jazz had earnings per share and revenue miss. Jazz, so that stock bidding down a little bit in the after hours. We also had RNG announced, Ring Central Incorporated announces 350 million convertible notes offer. Rite Aid, RAD commences offer to purchase certain of its outstanding series of notes. Let's see. SQ lowered guidance, so that's why SQ was down in the after hours. SQ, because they lowered guidance. Papa John's Pizza, earnings per share miss and revenue beat. So PZZA down in the after hours on PZA. Weight Watchers, WTW, earnings per share and revenue beat. WTW, so that stock popped, held most of its gains there on WTW. Let's go ahead and look and see if there was. We had the crude oil numbers come out, the API crude oils numbers come out. We had a build on the crude oil numbers API, so oil moving down, USO, the ETF for oil. Celgene came out with some news after the bell, provides regulatory update on Azamode for the treatment of relapsing multiple sclerosis. Let's see, Celgene received a refusal to file letter from the United States Food and Drug Administration. So that's Celgene taking a big slide down here on Celgene in the after hours on that news that came out. Let's see if there was any other news. Priceline, this new symbol for Priceline, by the way, PKNG, that stock up in the after hours as they, I believe, beat on earnings. Priceline. And so that stock, BKNG, the old PCLN, no longer exists, so it's BKNG. Booking Holdings, so BKNG is the new symbol for Priceline. Hertz had earnings after the bell tonight. HTZ, that stock selling off in the after hours. Let's see, Val had some earnings after the bell. Val, not doing too much in the after hours. That's an ADR, so maybe might get some action in it in the morning on that ADR. GNK, a shipper. GNK. They had earnings after the bell. Not too much action, but Genco Shipping beats by 8 cents, beat on revenues. GM announces a 40 million secondary share offering, and that was for General Motors, GM, so that stock moving down. All right, and then you see some of your earnings coming out for after the bell on Wednesday, and then before the bell on Wednesday there. BGNE had some news after the bell. OAS had earnings after the bell tonight. OAS, so nice move up there by OAS. A little bit of a gap up, an oil name. Let's see, ECYT announces public offering. ECYT, not much action in the after hours at the moment. And let's see, the Under Armour CEO will be on Kramer tomorrow at 6 p.m. He'll be on the Kramer show tomorrow, Under Armour UA. All right, so that stock not doing much in the after hours, but maybe tomorrow night after the CEO comes on, Kramer, you might get some action in Under Armour. Let's go ahead and take a look at the calendar for events. Well, today, as I mentioned on my videos, you had that Fed speak by Jerome Powell in front of the Congress Committee of Congress today, and that kind of riled the markets. We'll get more into that in a moment. But for tomorrow, you have the MBA mortgage applications. You have the GDP coming out tomorrow at 8:30, 9:45. You have Chicago PMI. 10:30, you have the EIA petroleum report. You do have some biotech news coming out. VRTX. This is a nifty little calendar by the trade exchange. So FDA decision coming out for VRTX. Also AERI has an FDA decision that's due out tomorrow for AERI. SRNA in the purple there. Also a FDA decision coming out for tomorrow, for Wednesday the 28th. So nifty little calendar here by the trade exchange, built for traders by traders. Come check them out. They're very good. I like their new service. We use it in our service, and we're very happy with it. Futures right now at around 7:30 my time, after the market moved down today about almost 300 points. We are getting a bounce in the Dow futures up 58, S&P futures up 6, NASDAQ futures up 13. So that's your futures at the moment. And let's see, some stocks that had some call activity today, courtesy of the trade exchange. AMD, which we traded today, TECK, STZ, AbbVie, ALY. Kodak had some March 750 call activity today. SKX also. Some stocks that were making highs today. Dillard's, MNK, SKYS, SRDX, AES, VNCE, PSTI, RLGY, TNDM, XRF, making the top gainers list today, and that also courtesy of the trade exchange. Here's a little thing I like to use from Earnings Whispers. We'll go show you this. So tomorrow is Wednesday. Before the bell, you have VRX, you have Lowe's, LOW, Analog Devices, TJ Maxx, let's see, Stratus, Office Depot. You also have Salesforce after the bell, Mylan Labs, Box. I think that's about it for the big ones. And then don't forget Thursday, you have Kohl's, Best Buy, AMC, TD. You have USCR, US Concrete, Barnes & Noble. You also have NTNX after the close Thursday, VMware, Splunk, Sarepta, Ambarella, Nordstrom's, Gap, and then Friday before they open, JD.com, JCPenney, Revlon, and so on as the earnings season continues on its merry way. So that's some earnings. Let's take a look at some of the market action. We'll just go through the SPY. All right, so kind of a bearish candle here on the SPY as we sell off. But when you look at it, the damage, we're still above the 50 SMA. Let me get rid of these lines for you for a second. There you go. so you can see it better. Right now we're holding above the 5 EMA on the SPY. So we held that 5 EMA, which is currently at 274.06. Below that we have the 50 SMA, which is 272.92. So we'll call it 273. For the 50 SMA. Then you have the 13, and then you have the 10, the light blue line, which is 272 even. So, bears a little bit of some progress here, but not enough to break us down all that much. And then the futures are bouncing tonight. We'll see how they open up in the morning for the futures. But as you can see, the SPY still holding the 5 above the 50, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not too much damage today. I guess, with the market being in the Dow in the 25,000, 27,000 range, you're going to get used to, up 400 point days, down 200, 300 point days. Just going to be the price you pay for having markets up so high, and I mean by numerically, all right? So a 300-point move is not really that big of a move, or a 400-point move is not that big of a move. So, you're going to have to get used to those kind of numbers on the Dow. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the watch list. As you can imagine, basically what I'm doing is I'm looking for relative strength and something that was kind of moving up today. So the first one up is AKER, trying to get up over this 200 SMA. We traded this one in the service today. We got in at around 67 cents, popped up to about 65 cents on AKER. Another name we traded in the service today, over $12.50. The stock popped up to $12.88. AMD, so that'll be on watch for tomorrow. Ameritrade, nice strength today, although this candle they did give some back from the highs. Nice volume came into Ameritrade. Next one, a small one, under 25 cents, but big volume came into this stock today, BPMX. So just making you aware, under that 25-cent mark, but nice move up today on this small name. CRE, relative strength today, holding above the 10. CRE showing strength there. I mean, it's had a nice run. CRE maybe needs to kind of digest this run a little bit on that name. But the RSI is only at 66 on that one. So keep your eye on it, CRE. CYH, nice pop today. Volume today, 3.7 million. So there's your volume, 3.7 million. The RSI at around 63 on the RSI. The high today on CYH was 628. Keep that one on watch, even though it's still under the 200 SMA. You might get an intraday play. Dries, holding up above the 5 EMA. This is probably the best Dries has looked in a long time. Still needs to get up over these highs here of 385. We have a high back here of around 393. So if it gets over, 390, maybe you get that $4 break finally in Dries. ESRX up in the after hours. They had earnings also, forgot to mention that one. Popped up in the after hours. So ESRX might want to make like a continuation move. Keep that on watch. ETFC, E-Trade Financial, same as Ameritrade. Didn't like this candle, but we'll see what the next few days bring. Was strong. Holding above the 5, the 10 on the daily here. A little bit of selling going on in the after hours there. And let's just check on this SPY, by the way, for the after hours. So yeah, a little bit of a bounce right now in the SPY off of the lows there on those. Back to the watch list. Sorry about that. Etsy had earnings. Nice pop up by Etsy. It closed at 21, trading at 24. Now I don't know if you'll get a trade in this tomorrow, but for the next week or so, maybe you want to keep this on watch. Might be some intraday plays in Etsy. Expedia, with Priceline moving up, and Expedia in sympathy to Priceline, also popping from 104 up to 107. So you might want to keep Expedia up, and Let's see. Next one, General Motors. They're doing this offering. It's selling off. Came down in after hours. So maybe General Motors for a possible bounce play there on General Motors tomorrow. Letter I, Intelsat. Popped, big pop up in it today, big volume in it today, moved up over $5, pulled back. So this one might be a watch. Maybe not tomorrow, but over the next few days, you might want to watch letter I. GSAT, I don't know if this is related to it or not. But this chart's starting to look a little bit better. Telecom services, same, telecom services for I. So GSAT might be one you want to watch as it's starting to turn the corner. Maybe it gets over that $1 spot. You see it was kind of pushing up today a little bit. So keep GSAT on watch. Maybe that one wants to move. NIHD, some insider purchases on this name, moving it up in the after hours, popped up to about a dollar, almost $1.45 in after hours. Now, I don't know, it's a little bit extended. It'll be a little bit extended. I don't know if you'll get a trade in this one for tomorrow, but over the next few days, you might want to keep that on watch, maybe even into next week. OAS had earnings, up in the after hours, so maybe OAS might want to give something tomorrow. PETS, Pets, with the GIS buying out Buffalo, this stock actually holding up. Had a high today of 48.27, so maybe Pets is one to watch on that one. PSTI, 500,000 shares traded, expanding volume. I'll bring up the volume, expanding volume here on PSTI. That $1.50 break. Only thing is you have the 100 SMA right up there at $1.52. So maybe it's better if it clears that $1.52. We'll see on intraday. RSI starting to get up over that 50 spot on RSI. RLGY, nice pop today. 5 million shares traded. RLGY. Roku still battling at this $40 level there on Roku. So, keep that one to watch. If they can't break that 40, maybe they'll turn it back up for Roku. So we'll see. SBBP. Had a 1.2 million shares. Never heard of this company, never traded it before. It's a biotech name. Showed a good strength. Looks like it popped up to about 780 and pulling back a little bit. So not too familiar with that one. STKI, I'm sorry, STKL, right? Synopta Incorporated Packaged Foods, 1.2 million shares traded, came up on a scanner. I don't know how this thing trades intraday, but I came up on a scanner, so throwing it out there. TNDM, trading at 330 in the after hours. Nice move up. Holding above the 5. Probably needs to get above like $3.28 or so. I think that's what the high, 332. So over 330, maybe TNDM wants to turn back up. It's a beaten down stock. They did a 1 for 10 split. So keep your eye on that one. TRXC. Holding up over $2 today, 5 million shares traded in it. So keep an eye on that one. And also now, with the markets fluctuating like they are, keep an eye on TIVX, a volatility play for intraday trading only. TIVX, TVIX. Keep an eye on that. TZA and inverse. Another inverse that you may want to watch, NXD. That's an inverse for the Dow. So if the Dow is going to have an off day for the next couple of days or, for the next couple of weeks, who knows if the market's going to start, selling off, keep an eye on some of these inverses, DXD, TZA, TIVX, but you don't hold TIVX overnight. That's just for intraday trading. VRAY, very strong today. VRAY. About 600,000 shares traded, basing under that $9 area on TIVX, getting up over the 50 SMA on our charts here. So So for VRAY, getting up over the 50 SMA, VRAY, sorry. Let's see what else. WTW, maybe an intraday trade in this one. If it pulls back a little bit, you might get a play in Weight Watchers. And then lastly, I'll throw this ZSAN. Maybe it just needed a day of rest. Had that big pop up to over $11. Held this $8 area for ZSAN. So I don't know, not a favorite, but it might catch fire again tomorrow on ZSAN. ZSAN. All right, folks, that's your watch list. This is Mike from ZozoStockWatch.com.